Welcome on in, golf fans. It's your boy Gsluke here with a little prop preview for this week's American Express. Gonna take a look at the course, give you an idea of what to expect from all three for this weekend, and then talk about some of my favorite props for Thursday's round. You might want to enter over there on Underdog and Prize Picks. So first off, starting with the courses, it's a little bit of a different setup, and whether you're on Prize Picks or an Underdog, you're gonna have players from all three of these tracks included. So first off, we got the Pete Dye Stadium course. That would be the main track for this week, where they'll play one of the first three rounds, and then everyone on Sunday that makes the cut will also be playing on the stadium course. So when we get to round 4, we'll be talking a lot about the stadium course, but we also have La Quinta Country Club mixed in, and also this Nicklaus Tournament course. The one thing that makes it easier is that they're all par 72s. They're all right about the same length as well, and on top of that, they all play well under par. But a few things to note about the different tracks is that La Quinta and the Nicklaus Tournament course have a lot less holes that can trip you up. So over here at the stadium course, if we get any sort of wind, there's a few water holes out there that are tricky. Also, the par 5s are a little bit longer than what you have at the other two tracks, whereas at La Quinta and the Nicklaus Tournament course, it's set up more for your resort style guests, right? Your country club members over there at La Quinta, and it's a lot more playable as a result. So last year you can see that the easiest course was the Nicklaus, second easiest was the stadium course because of the lack of wind, and then your third, which is actually a little bit surprising here, was La Quinta Country Club. Over in 2022, it was pretty similar. You can see that year La Quinta was the easiest of the bunch. Pretty typical for La Quinta to be the easiest, but last year was a little bit of a deviation from that trend. So worth noting that the stadium course was slightly harder than the other two over there in 2022. We go to 2021, you'll see they only played 2 courses. That year was strange, was played at a different time of year. But if we go back to 2020, you'll see La Quinta, right, as once again the easiest golf course. So in terms of taking our round 1 props, there's not going to be much weather to worry about. I expect all 3 tracks to play relatively under par. But if there's one track that you really want to target out there, or even 2 courses that you really want to target for your props, it's La Quinta in the Nicklaus Tournament course. La Quinta normally has a birdie average between 4.5 and sometimes even 5 birdies per round, and the Nicklaus Tournament course is right around that same rate. So when we hop into this underdog board here later, where a lot of our prop value is going to be, it's a lot of guys playing on La Quinta in the Nicklaus course. So speaking of the weather, before we hop into that, let's go ahead and show you guys what we're working with here. Over here in La Quinta, California, which is near Palm Springs, if you guys aren't familiar, let's go ahead and set our little weather mark here on La Quinta Country Club. So go ahead, put it down right there, and you'll see for tomorrow, this HRRR model is calling for sub 5 miles an hour winds all day. They'll be teeing off between like 8:30 to 9 a.m. I believe your last tee time is at like 10:30 local time, which means they'll be finishing up before any of these wind gusts come through. And in terms of wind gusts, they get up to right around 9 miles an hour, which is pretty much unheard of, right? You've got perfect still conditions. It's clear. You've got perfect temperatures out there too. If you look at this NAM model, they're calling for the same type of weather. Meteo Blue, same thing. Icon, same type of thing. Slightly higher wind gusts, but still 10 to 12 miles an hour is literally nothing. GFS, ECM model out here, all look relatively perfect. So when we're looking at some of the averages, we want to look at the easier end of the spectrum, right? So if this played 2.8 under par, that's probably pretty in line with what we're going to see for this week. Last year, right, it only played about 2.4 under par, 3.2 for the Nicklaus course. You're going to see these courses play 2.5, 3 strokes under par. So it should be easy. It should be a lot of overs on birdies that we're considering for this, and a lot of unders on strokes. But if we take a look at the underdog board, and it looks like a few of these are getting bumped here. So we'll see if they're posted back up at the same numbers or not. It looks like they weren't, unfortunately. Still some overs on birdies you might want to consider. And the main reason for that is not only with the conditions, but also the pricing compared to other books. So if we go over here to Prize Picks, it's not my favorite site to play here for round 1. You can see they have the birdies a lot higher. They have guys like Cantlay at 6, right? Scotty at 6.5, Xander at 6. Almost all of these regular top tier players are up there at 5.5 birdies. Whereas over here on Underdog, right, you see Xander's at 5.5. You have JT at 5, Minwoo Lee down at 5 birdies. So you have about a 0.5 birdie discrepancy. Earlier in the week, it was upwards of an entire birdie discrepancy between the two books out here. And that's in line with what FanDuel has too. So you see over here in FanDuel, they're actually even more bullish about these players' chances. They've got guys like Scotty Scheffler at 6.5 birdies. Xander Schauffele's up here at 6.5. Tony Finau, 5.5 birdies. Just, well higher than what we have on these other books. I mean, look at this. Minwoo Lee, right? At minus 175 for over 5.5 birdies. These kind of props with this much value don't come along very often. So over here on the underdog side, right, we have Minwoo at 0.5 lower. And he was minus 175 towards the over. I mean, that is just some ridiculous value right there. JT, let's see. Do they even have him up? I think they don't have JT up, right? But he's comparable to somebody like a Sungjae Im playing over there on Lake Quinta. And you see he's minus 175 towards the over. So not only are we getting props that can push there at 5 birdies, but also ones that are heavily, heavily juiced in our favor. So you have Xander Schauffele at 5.5. Sure, he's juiced under over there at 6.5 birdies, but that's an entire birdie discrepancy. And of course, with him at 6 birdies over here in Prize Picks, which is probably his adequate projection, you're getting a lot of value there too. The unfortunate part about these birdie props is that you can't take them all together, right? If we're going to go out there, try and play one of these guys, you've got to mix them in with something on the stroke side. And unfortunately, I think the strokes board is pretty fair. So what I've done, and I'll just show you guys down here, is I took a lot of props from other sports, right? So like you can see on here, there's a lot of green. Those are the non-golf props that I took. I went 9-1 on my pairings, or actually 8-1 in my pairings, still pending this little Purdy prop over here. But I took a lot of these guys for their overs on birdies. So Tom Kim still on the board. You could take him at 5.5. Cantlay, I believe, got bumped up to 6, but you can see another player I took an over on. And because we're mixing them in with other sports, right, you don't have to worry about the correlation rules. So if you're somebody that's a plus EV better, maybe someone that goes out there and bets a lot of NBA, NFL props, that kind of thing, this is the perfect situation for you, right? You go over here, you take a lot of these props that are value on the board and mix them in with spots from other sports. So let's go ahead, throw the Tom Kim one in there. I'm going to give you guys a whole bunch to mix and match here. And let's find one more super value spot. So yeah, a lot of them got bumped or removed. So let's go ahead, add Tom Kim, and then throw in, I guess we could throw J-Day in there, right? J-Day was up at 5.5 birdies over here on the FanDuel side. And you can see he's even money at 5.5. He's also posted at, I believe, 5.5 over here in Prize Picks. We get the push in our back pocket at 5. And of course, perfect conditions out there for Thursday. So these props are going to have an incredibly high hit rate, right? They're not locks by any means, right? I don't use that 4-letter L word, but they're like minus 170 to minus 200 juice, right? That implies about a 57.5 to right around like a 63% hit rate. And most of these kind of things, which is, again, much higher than you're going to find for most plus EV optimizers. And on top of that, you're not going to find this kind of pricing on sports books, right? If you were going to take overs on birdies, you'd be forced to go to 5.5, be forced to even go up to 6.5 birdies on some of these players. And over here in Underdog, it's just a lot more doable. So course conditions look perfect for the first day. Again, this course is already one that plays extremely easy to begin with. If you were going to take some stroke stuff, you could take a few unders, but it's just not my favorite scenario, right? I'd more so like to go out there, attack some of these overs on birdies. As the stroke stuff, right? This course plays about like 3 strokes under par. That's kind of what I'm expecting for the Nicklaus in La Quinta tomorrow. I mean, that would be a 69, right? It's a par 72, like I mentioned before. To go out there and cover a 67.5 strokes prop, they'd have to gain about 2 strokes to the field, which is doable. I'd actually say that a lot of these players average, right, more than 2 strokes gained to the field. But these birdie props, I mean, think about it, right? These guys at 5 birdies, like a Jason Day, a JT, a Minwoo Lee, they gain 0.2 birdies to the field, which all of them gain well more than 0.2 birdies to the field out there, and they're pushing, right? Let alone their chances to go over. So with the course conditions, the value on these sort of players, definitely worth nuking over there on Underdog. In terms of your Prize Picks exposure, there's not going to be much we're going over here. If there's anything I would enter, it would be this under on Sungjae Im strokes. Outside of that, right, you're getting better value on all the birdie or better stuff on Underdog side. And at this point, I'm not going to force anything in. So kind of waiting on the weather. If we end up seeing it's playing a little harder than I think, right, maybe only like 2.5 under par, there might actually be a few fades for strokes that we can consider, but I'm not expecting that, right? It looks perfect. There's 0 wind out there, perfect weather conditions in terms of the temperature. I doubt that that's going to be something that I'm going with. So underdog's the place to play. Go out there. I know the correlation rules can be annoying, but a lot of you guys watching this, right, are playing NBA, NHL, all of that out there. It is the perfect scenario for that. But that's all I've got for this breakdown. Hopefully you feel a little bit more prepared to attack those prop boards. Go ahead, smash that like button on the way out of here. Also, go ahead, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the content in the future. Tonight on live stream, we'll be talking props there too. So if there's anything you want to run by me, go ahead and let me know. And of course, for rounds 2 through 4, we'll be doing streams talking about props and DFS. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of that when it drops. If you want a free chance to earn a month of my Patreon page where I'm posting all the different props I'm taking on the golf side, make sure to check out the link in the bio. If you want a free chance to win it for free though, go ahead, let me know your favorite prop on the board. Has to be a birdie prop and underdog, okay? And to win this challenge, okay, you have to give me the guy that makes the most birdies on the board. So of anyone on here, whoever ends up making the most, ties will all count towards that. Let me know who it is, right? Maybe it's a sleeper like Adam Hadwin. He goes out there, makes 9-10 birdies. Maybe it's Winmu or Justin Thomas, right, that goes out there and gets the job done. Let me know down in the comments who you think makes the most birdies on this board. And the winner, go ahead and win a free month of the Patreon. But that's all I've got for this preview. Again, hopefully you feel prepared. Let's go out there and smash for Thursday's action.